What's up, everyone? Mr. On a Rant with you. Today I got a good video for you. We're going to talk about the Amazon and Starbucks strikes, and particularly their unions. And my thoughts on the unions, your thoughts on the unions, and what's going to happen going forward, especially with the work from home uh, jobs that are going to get annihilated by AI in the next 5 years. But that's going to be another video. Let's listen to this guy and see what he has to say real quick, and then we'll talk about
Amazon and Starbucks employees are walking off the job as two major strikes hit ahead of the holidays, just ahead. The Amazon strike is organized by the Teamsters union, and they are hoping to put pressure on Amazon into better benefits, higher wages, safer working conditions. Meantime, Starbucks workers.
First of all, that's the problem right there. Teamsters union. We need to get rid of all unions. There's no need for unions. You know how many businesses, 100-year businesses like Yellow Freight, Old Dominion, that were around for 100 years with stagecoaches? Who put them out of business? The Teamsters. Everybody deserves to make a living, but you know you shouldn't be getting paid to drive a truck. You shouldn't be getting paid six figures or double six figure. I know some people who are making $200,000 a year driving a truck. Who's paying for that? You. Anything you touch in the grocery store that's triple the price right now, you're paying for that Teamster's wage. Let me keep
Are
going.
hitting picket lines in Los Angeles, Chicago, Seattle, asking for fair pay. Their protests are
Fair
expected
pay.
to grow over the next
You're
few
pouring
years.
a cup of coffee.
Bring in ABC's Zoreen Shah, who is at a
My
Starbucks
God, this makes my blood
in
boil.
Burbank. And Zoreen, we can see the picketers behind you. What are they saying they want?
So, Phil, I've been speaking to one of them this morning, and they say they want a resolution to unfair labor practices.
Look at the
They
picketers.
also want better wages, better benefits. There's 11,000 unionized Starbucks workers across the country protesting in places like Los Angeles, Seattle, Chicago, at over 500 locations.
My God, the Starbucks makes my blood boil. A job at Starbucks, you're not going to afford a house, a wife, a kid, a boat, a $90,000 GMC pickup truck, and living in California. It's not going to happen. A job at Starbucks, it's a cup of coffee. You're pouring a cup of coffee. A job at Starbucks, you're pouring a cup of coffee. It's an after-school, part-time, extra money job. You're not going to support a family pouring a cup of coffee at Starbucks. It's not going to happen, especially in California. Why should I don't go to Starbucks, first of all. But why should somebody have to go to Starbucks and pay $18 for a cup of coffee? Because the guy pouring a cup of coffee wants to make $100,000 a year. It's not going to happen. And then the second of all, why do we need unions? Why does a guy pouring a cup of coffee need to be in a union? We need to get rid of unions. Unions should not be big enough to pretty much hold the people who are giving them jobs hostage. Either, it's my way or the highway. Same thing with like the Teamsters. The Teamsters have gotten so, and the teachers union. Don't even get me started with the teachers unions. The Teamsters have gotten so big they could pretty much just annihilate and just shut down any company they work for. Let's keep going.
These protests are expected to grow in the coming days, and we have one of the spokespeople from this Starbucks actually right here in Burbank, who's with us right now. Hi, tell us a little bit more about what you guys are asking for. What is the number one thing?
The number one thing is that Starbucks resolves over 100 outstanding unfair labor practice cases. These are people who have been fired illegally, and Starbucks is not resolving these cases.
Roughly how many people does that include?
I don't have the exact number, I'm sorry.
But a substantial number, enough that is the number one priority. And the other priorities, higher wages. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? Better benefits. What exactly is the goal when it comes to those things?
It's always the higher wages with these Starbucks. I mean, not to knock liberals, but I guarantee you 99% of people working at Starbucks are liberals. And they want everything given to them. It's not going to happen. This kid's, he's probably trying to survive in California, paying $3,000, a month rent, working at Starbucks. It's not going to happen. You either get nobody's forcing you to take these jobs. You either get a better job or you move out of broken states like New York, New Jersey, New California, where the rents and cost of living is just sky high.
Overall, here at Starbucks, many of us are struggling. We struggle every month to pay our rent,
Get a better job,
afford groceries, and that's unacceptable. We work here hard. We work often. Like, it's just unacceptable for them to pay us.
What I say about the groceries before. You can't afford groceries because the Teamsters unions and all these other unions, they're just driving the price up astronomical. And the other thing is, if you don't have a nice cushy Teamsters job, you're getting decimated. Decimated. You can't survive. The cost of we got to stop giving. Everybody wants I need a raise. Everybody deserves a good fair wage. But like I said, we need to get rid of unions. I can't articulate today.
Such low amounts that we can barely afford to live.
Do you think Starbucks is going to
move and get a better job?
Will you find a resolution?
I think we will.
And how long do you think you're going to be out here for?
We'll be out here for the next 5 days. After that, I can't say what will happen.
So until Christmas Eve?
Until Christmas Eve.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much, Kai. We appreciate it. Phil?
Yeah, Zuri, just quickly, Starbucks has said it has offered a wage increase. What's the company's position now?
Yeah, so they say they've offered a increase of a 2% wage increase, a guaranteed 1.5% increase in future years. The union says that's not enough. And of course, you heard from Kai right now, who says that's also not the number one priority, that they're looking for other things in addition to those wage increases.
Of course.
And those better
what do they want, 4 days a week?
Thousands of Amazon workers striking at 7 Amazon facilities in Illinois, New York, Georgia, and right here in California. The Teamsters union calling it the largest ever strike against Amazon.
Alex Press is a staff writer at Jacobin, where she covers labor organizing, and she joins us now with
Oh, look at this lady.
Nice to see you. Good of you to be with us tonight. We understand that you were out on the picket lines in New York today. Can you tell us what you saw and what you were hearing?
And like I said, not to knock liberals, but this lady is a textbook liberal. Look at the mess behind her. Like I said, everybody deserves their opinions, but
Hearing from workers? Sure. Thanks again for having me, as always. So I was out in Aspen, Queens, in New York City, where DBK4 is on strike. So this is a smaller delivery center. So it's not the giant fulfillment centers we often hear about or think about, like the one that organized in Staten Island, was the first, Amazon facility in the U.S. to unionize. That was at JFK. These are a little smaller. They're sort of the last mile delivery often. So
this is another thing that makes my blood boil. Nobody's forcing you to take a job at Amazon. Amazon is giving you a job. And I got news for people. With AI coming, let this be a wake up call to people. If you're sitting home with a nice cushy peck in your computer, work from home job, I got news for you. Unless you're hands on, boots on the ground, that job's going to be annihilated in the next year or two. AI is going to come take that job, but that's another video for another day. Amazon is giving you a job in Queens where there's probably not that many jobs, so they're giving you a job. Now you go and you got to form a union. Nobody's forcing you to take that job. If you don't like the job, you leave. That's the problem with the generation that are coming up. If you don't like the job, you leave. You don't huff and puff and say we got to form a union and get paid $100,000 to pick up a box. So like I said before, if you're not getting paid a nice cushy union salary, which if you got a union job, God bless you. But if you don't have a union job, you're struggling and you're getting decimated because you're paying for that $200,000 dock worker that's making $200,000 with overtime to drive a truck moving a container. You're paying for that. So let's keep going.
They're around big city centers. What I was seeing was a lot of excitement. I think workers have been fed up at Amazon for a long time, and this, to really defy the employer and to go on strike and to sort of, have music and have support and have community leaders and elected officials that are on your side. It really is a
have music and excitement. Yeah, this is the big game to them. The music and the excitement at a picket line. It's just a big game to these people.
A remarkable feeling. When I talked to
it's a remarkable feeling
about what led them to support this union.
Textbook liberal, like I said.
Frustration. People are fed up with being treated like machines. This is what Amazon workers say all the time. That the employer treats them like they're robots and that they're.
It's called a job.
They don't matter that much and they can be replaced like any other part. But that's not true with a human being. And so these workers
it's called a job.
Organizing to fight. I think it's worth saying that this is not every driver who was out on this picket line. There were a lot of drivers still going to work. The NYPD were very much intervening on the side of Amazon. They arrested several workers, and eventually those workers were released and brought back to the
Of course, it's a revolving door.
It was really a remarkable thing to see, but
get arrested, right back out in the street, and right back to the picket line.
Some elected officials and the NYPD to keep it flowing. But what I saw was workers excited to be taking this step.
Yeah, they're excited. It's just one. That's the problem nowadays. It's just one big party.
Amazon says the Teamsters are misleading the public since the Teamsters account for less than 1% of the company's workforce. What do you make of the war of words, and how do you ultimately see this resolving?
Yeah, so this comes down to something called the joint employer rule. So the National Labor Relations Board under Biden, led by General Counsel Jennifer
of course,
has been pretty aggressive as we've seen in decades, siding with workers. And this current NLRB has said Amazon, at least in one case, should count as a joint employer of these drivers. So for people who don't know, drivers at Amazon really are employed by a sort of contractor company. So they don't get their check signed by Amazon, right? You might get your package delivered by.
That's the problem right there. Why does Amazon need to contract drivers? So there's how many middlemen are in the middle of that getting paid from Amazon? See, that's the problem. Everybody's blaming Amazon, but yet Amazon's paying the contracting company, and the contracting company is paying the driver, probably pit wages. So why isn't the driver striking against the contracting company? Why are they striking against Amazon? Granted, everybody needs to make a living, but you're living in Queens. If you can't afford to live in Queens, you get out of Queens and go live somewhere else. New York is just unaffordable. Unaffordable if you don't have a nice Wall Street or nice cushy, six-figure union job.
Someone who's wearing an Amazon shirt, driving an Amazon branded van, they are not direct employees. Now, these workers and the Teamsters have been arguing that in every sense of the word, in the common sense understanding of who your boss is, who makes your schedule, who gets to discipline you, who determines all the conditions of your job, that's Amazon. And NLRB has been starting to side with them. So that is the argument here, that it is Amazon who should have to bargain with them, not these small contractors who really have no say anyway, who just do what Amazon tells them. Amazon, of course, disputes this. The last thing I would say here is Amazon also is refusing to bargain with those workers at JFK 8 that I mentioned.
Don't forget to subscribe and like if you made it this far.
That they aren't. They work at the warehouse. And so it's hard not to conclude that this is about Amazon wanting no one to stand in their way when the aim is making sky-high profits on the backs of hundreds of thousands of members of the public.
You mentioned at the top of this interview, Alex, about the workers in the warehouses having.
Like I said, some of these places are making sky-high profits, like she said, but that's the cost of they gets the reward of taking a risk. Listen, nobody's forcing you to take this job. You shouldn't be taking it if you need to make $5,000 a month. and you're taking a job that's going to say pay $4,000 a month, you're going to be in a hole of $1,000 a month every month. So why you're taking that? Get a better job. Like I said, it's not that easy. But either get a better job, you move, do something else, or you go with something that's called you go without. You don't take vacations. That's another video for another day. People are living way above their means, way above their means. They're having 1, 2, 3 kids when they can't even afford one kid. Having a kid should be like buying a car. If you can't afford the $1,000 Mercedes and you can only afford the $200, Datsun. Datsun was like a crappy car back in the day. If you can only afford a $200 car, you're not going to buy the $1,000 car. So if you can't afford a kid, don't have kids. People are living way above their means. All of a sudden, inflation comes. Oh, we can't go on our 3 vacations. I need a raise. Everybody needs a raise. We need a raise. We need a raise. We got to stop giving raises to chase inflation. Same thing with these unions. Every other month, it's another union wanting a raise. You do without, it's called.
Knee problems and back problems and being treated like robots. And you wrote an article.
It's called a job.
In April of 2022, a piece titled "Working at Amazon's hazardous to your health." Can you tell us what made these warehouses hazardous, and has anything changed since you wrote that piece?
From what I saw today, and I've talked to Amazon workers, both drivers and warehouse workers, in the intervening years. I talked to them all morning today. Nothing has changed. It's rare for me to speak to an Amazon worker who hasn't been injured on the job. And again, these workers don't have health insurance. They have few, if any, benefits. That's one of the things they're really fighting for. That article
Well, that's a problem. If you're working at Amazon, unless you're working part-time or something, I don't know. But if you're working at Amazon, they should be giving you benefits. You should have, paid time off. You should have health insurance. You should have benefits. That's part of a job. I don't know, what's going on there, but Amazon should be giving you benefits. I definitely agree with that. But like I said, we need to get rid of unions. And I got news for the people. All these people coming into the door, the doors have been wide open the last 5 years. You got an influx of all these people coming in, and I got news for people with AI and robots and everything else. All these jobs you see on the screen right now are going to be gone. There's going to be no jobs. So it's going to be very interesting in the next. And like I said, these work from home jobs, they're going to be annihilated by AI. AI is going to take your job. So if you got one of those jobs, I hope you're saving your money. But if you don't got boots on the ground, that job is going to be annihilated. So the video is almost
over.
over.
A report from the data showing that Amazon has about twice the injury rate of comparable warehouses.
All right. So anyway, that's about the gist of the story. So we need to get rid of unions. That's part of the big problem is the affordability, and the same thing with the teachers. Why do we need 5 layers of teachers unions for like one town? You got the town, the county, the borough, the state, the national. I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole. But anyway, let me know how you like the video. Like I said, I'm not anti-union. If you got a nice union job, God bless you. But it's coming to the point now where you just I want more. I want more. I want more. My boat isn't big enough. I need a bigger boat. My $40,000 SUV costs $80,000 now. Why? Because a GM union, GM worker putting a hubcap on a car wants to make $80 an hour. But that's a union. So everybody winds up paying for that cushy union job. That's what it all boils down to. But anyway, hit me up in the comments. Let me know if you agree, don't disagree, agree, disagree, whatever the case is. I'll see you on the next one.